Let me tell you something about the teenage years that most parents won't say out loud. Every time someone finds out I have a teenager, they lean in close and whisper the same thing. Oh, just wait. You have no idea what's coming. But here's what nobody talks about. What if they're wrong? What if the teenage years don't have to be the parenting nightmare everyone makes them out to be? I'm going to share something with you today that goes against everything you've probably heard about raising teenagers. This isn't about sugarcoating the challenges or pretending everything will be perfect. This is about reframing how you think about this entire phase of your child's life, and more importantly, how you can approach it without losing your mind or your relationship with your kid. If you're the parent of a young child right now, chances are someone has already planted seeds of dread in your mind about what's coming. Maybe you're already lying awake at night wondering how you'll handle rebellion, dating, driving, college applications, or any of the 100 other scary scenarios that dance through your imagination. But what if I told you that this fear might be the very thing standing between you and actually enjoying these years with your teenager? The first thing you need to understand is that fear about the teenage years usually says more about us as parents than it does about our kids. Think about it this way. When your child was a toddler having a meltdown in Target, it was embarrassing and exhausting, but ultimately manageable. You could physically pick them up and leave. You could distract them with goldfish crackers. The stakes felt lower because, let's face it, a 3-year-old's bad decisions don't have lasting consequences. But teenagers? They can make choices that genuinely impact their futures. They can get pregnant, get arrested, get hurt, or hurt others. The margin for error feels so much smaller, and our ability to control outcomes feels so much more limited. This creates what I call the parental perfect storm. Higher stakes plus less control equals maximum anxiety. Here's something fascinating though. Most of us remember being teenagers ourselves. Unlike our toddler years, which are mostly a blur, we have vivid memories of being 16 or 17. We remember the intensity of those emotions, the terrible decisions we made, the risks we took. If you were a rebellious teenager, you're probably terrified your child will follow in your footsteps. If you were relatively well-behaved, you might be even more anxious because you've seen what happened to the kids who weren't. But here's where it gets interesting. That fear you're feeling, your parents felt it too, and their parents before them. Every generation of parents has looked at their teenagers and thought, I don't know if I'm equipped for this. The difference is that we've somehow convinced ourselves that previous generations had some secret knowledge or natural wisdom that we're missing. This brings me to something psychologists call imposter syndrome. When we were teenagers ourselves, even if we rebelled against authority, we had this underlying trust that the adults in our lives were competent and in control. They seemed to know what they were doing. Now suddenly we are those adults, and we realize we're just winging it like everyone else. We're expected to guide these young people through major life decisions, when half the time we can't even figure out our own lives. The truth is, no parent in history has ever felt completely prepared for the teenage years. Your parents didn't have a secret manual. They were scared too. They were making it up as they went along, just like you will be. And somehow, most teenagers survive and thrive despite their parents' fears and mistakes. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not suggesting the teenage years are easy or that nothing bad ever happens. Adolescence is inherently a time of transition and sometimes chaos. Your teenager's brain is literally under construction. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and impulse control, won't be fully developed until their mid-20s. They're dealing with hormonal changes, social pressures, identity questions, and the enormous task of figuring out who they want to become. All of this is normal. It's not a reflection of your parenting failures or a sign that something is terribly wrong. It's adolescence doing exactly what adolescence is supposed to do, helping your child separate from you and develop their own identity. This process can be messy and scary, but it's also necessary and healthy. The key shift I want you to make is this. Instead of approaching the teenage years as something to survive, approach them as something to experience. Instead of bracing for impact, try preparing for connection. Because here's what the doom and gloom parents won't tell you. There's actually something magical about watching your child transform into the adult they're meant to become. Think about it this way. During the toddler years, you caught glimpses of your child's personality, but they were still so dependent on you for everything. During elementary school, you saw more of who they were, but they were still very much your little kid. The teenage years are when you get your first real preview of the adult your child will become. You get to see their values solidifying, their passions emerging, their unique perspective on the world taking shape. Yes, there will be moments when you want to pull your hair out. There will be times when you feel completely powerless to protect them from their own choices or from the world's cruelty. There will be nights when you lie awake worrying about where they are or what they're doing. This comes with the territory of loving someone who is learning to navigate the world independently. But there will also be conversations that blow your mind with their depth and insight. There will be moments when you see them show compassion or wisdom or strength that takes your breath away. There will be times when they surprise you with their maturity or make you proud in ways you never expected. You'll get to witness firsthand the amazing human being you've been raising all these years. The mistake many parents make is approaching the teenage years like they're entering a war zone. They arm themselves with rules and restrictions, preparing for battle. But what if instead you approached it like you're embarking on an adventure? Not a naive, unprepared adventure, but one where you acknowledge both the potential dangers and the incredible discoveries waiting ahead. This doesn't mean being permissive or avoiding difficult conversations. It means recognizing that your relationship with your teenager needs to evolve. You can't parent a 16-year-old the same way you parented a 6-year-old. Your role is shifting from protector and controller to guide and consultant. This transition can feel terrifying because it requires letting go of some control. But it's also exciting because it means your relationship can deepen in ways that weren't possible when they were younger. One of the most helpful frameworks I've found is thinking about the teenage years as a time of apprenticeship. Your teenager is apprenticing for adulthood, and you're their master craftsman. Your job isn't to do the work for them, but to teach them the skills they need and to be there when they need guidance or support. Some lessons they'll learn easily, others they'll need to learn the hard way. Your job is to create an environment where they can learn and grow while still having a safety net. This means picking your battles carefully. Not every hill is worth dying on. Some rules are non-negotiable because they involve safety or core values. Others can be negotiated as part of helping your teenager learn to make decisions and understand consequences. The goal isn't to control every aspect of their life, but to help them develop their own internal compass. It also means accepting that they will make mistakes. They will disappoint you sometimes. They will make choices you disagree with. This isn't a failure of your parenting, it's part of their learning process. Your job is to be there to help them process those experiences and learn from them, not to prevent them from ever happening. One thing that can help is remembering that your teenager still needs you, just in different ways. They may push you away sometimes, or act like your opinion doesn't matter. But underneath all that bravado, they're still looking to you for security and guidance. They need to know that your love isn't conditional on their behavior, that you'll be there even when they mess up, and that you believe in their ability to figure things out. Communication becomes more important than ever during these years, but it also looks different. Instead of lecturing or interrogating, focus on listening and asking good questions. Create opportunities for natural conversation. Some of the best talks with teenagers happen in cars or during late-night kitchen conversations. Be genuinely curious about their thoughts and experiences, instead of just waiting for your turn to dispense wisdom. And here's something crucial. Take care of yourself during these years. Parenting a teenager can be emotionally exhausting. You need support systems, whether that's other parents going through the same thing, a therapist, or just friends who will listen when you need to vent. You can't pour from an empty cup, and your teenager needs you to be emotionally healthy and available. Remember too that this phase won't last forever. I know it can feel endless when you're in the thick of it, but the teenage years are relatively short in the grand scheme of your relationship with your child. The foundation you build during this time will impact your relationship for decades to come. The goal isn't just to get through these years intact, it's to emerge on the other side with a strong, healthy relationship with your young adult child. So if you're scared about the teenage years, that's completely normal and understandable. But don't let that fear rob you of the opportunity to enjoy this unique and fleeting phase of your child's life. Yes, it will be challenging. Yes, there will be difficult moments, but there will also be incredible moments of growth, connection, and joy. Instead of dreading what's coming, try approaching it with curiosity and even excitement. You get to witness one of the most dramatic transformations in human development. You get to guide someone you love through one of the most important phases of their life. And if you're willing to embrace both the challenges and the rewards, you might just discover that the teenage years aren't something to survive, but something to treasure. The teenage years aren't the enemy, they're an opportunity. And with the right mindset and approach, they can be some of the most meaningful and rewarding years of your parenting journey.